Hey Rock family, I hope you're having a good week so far. I wanted to bring to you a devotion today just to share something that's been on my heart. One of the things that I've missed since we've been in quarantine is sports. I've missed baseball, March Madness basketball, women's softball, all of the sporting events that typically go along with this time of year. I've missed out on those, but we have had movies, sports movies. And being a father of two young kids, I've enjoyed introducing them to some of these movies, like Remember the Titans, the Rocky movies, Seabiscuit. Is Over the Top a sports movie? Yeah, I think it is. I think that's a sports movie. The other day we watched Cool Runnings. You remember the movie made back in the 90s about the Jamaican bobsled team? There's so many great movies out there. And one of the things that draws us to these movies is that the person or the team is encountering a lot of obstacles and challenges, but yet they overcome the obstacles and they achieve victory in the end. It's the underdog story that we root for and we cheer for and we celebrate when there's a victory. And one thing that you don't see in these movies is you don't see the person or team winning because the opposition got worse. For instance, in Rocky IV, Drago didn't come out to that final match with a migraine. He was ready to fight. He trained hard and he was taking performance-enhancing drugs before we even knew what those were. He was ready. Yet Rocky, even though the odds were against him, was able to overcome those odds and win the match in the end. Remember the Titans, the final game, the opposing team didn't forfeit. No, the opposing team was ready to go. They were at their best. It was the Titans that had to come together and learn how to be united as players and as coaches. And because of that unity, they were able to play at their best. And they won against a really talented team. So the opposition doesn't get easier. The person or the team gets stronger. And I think a lot of times in our story, we want our challenges to be easier. We see victory as not having to fight. We see victory as not having these problems to begin with. And when we do encounter struggles and obstacles, it's easy to get discouraged. And so I want to read to you out of 2 Corinthians. The Apostle Paul is writing this letter, and he's talking about a personal issue that he has. He calls it a thorn in his flesh. And we don't really know what it is. There's some guesses as to what it might be. Is it something physical or spiritual? We don't know. But we do know that this is something that Paul wants out of his life. He wants the challenge removed. And so I'm going to read here in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, beginning in verse 8. Paul said, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And so here's Paul. He's wanting the problem to go away. But God says, no, I'm not going to take it away. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the strength to move forward. And my grace is sufficient. My power is made perfect in weakness. And so at first that verse is a little disturbing because it says because it's showing that God is not taking away our problems. But the upside to that verse is that God's saying, even though your problems aren't going to go away necessarily, I'm going to be with you. And even if you don't feel like you're strong enough, that's okay. Because even in your weakness, in fact, in your weakness, I am strong. My strength, my power is made perfect in your weakness. So there's nothing wrong with us praying for problems to go away or for our issues to be mitigated. There's nothing wrong with that. But when they don't, when God doesn't necessarily take away the problem, the hope that we have is that in our weakness, we can be made strong through Christ. And He can make us stronger to be able to handle whatever it is that's in front of us. and that's encouraging. You know, we all know the verse, or at least it's pretty popular, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who takes my problems away? No. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so if our problems aren't taken away, we can rest assured and we can have hope that that can allow us to bring Christ into the problem. And in our weakness, He gives us that strength to overcome those problems, to work through it, and in the end, achieve victory. And that is a good story. So I would just want to encourage you folks, whatever your problem is, whatever your issue is, maybe God will remove it, maybe He won't, but even if He doesn't, He gives us the strength and the power to move ahead and move forward. So I wish you all a wonderful week. God bless you, and we'll talk soon.